Alright guys, let's take a minute real quick and go over the fight for tonight. The reason being is it tend to take up a little bit too much time during raid actually going over these fights as opposed to having our strat lined out going into it. Um, Not going to dig in too in depth on all the abilities and everything, all the exacts and everything, just because I'm going to share this document so everyone kind of go through it anyway, which I really appreciate. Um, First things first, changes from heroic to mythic. The only thing is, when we kill an ad last, boss gains an ability. We're going to control by killing the Decimator last twice, killing the Demolisher last once. The reason we're doing that is the Decimation is super easy to deal with, won't be a big deal, and the Demolisher on the third one, technically don't have to do. I've seen kills where you kill the Decimator all 3 times, boss gets a 35% increase, and you basically race to kill and keep the tanks alive. Might be a viable strat. We'll see how big of an issue diabolic bombs are and how big of an issue, or not an issue, tank damage is, and we'll kind of go from there. Um, phase 1. Phase 1, I've set up a little image here to show you where everyone's standing. Everyone's going to be assigned to a group. The group that you are with is your group for the whole raid. I will set up our raid groups in actual raid panel just to show where you're at, plus just make it easier for the healers to know who their people are. Each group will have a tank as well. We'll see how that works out. Healers, we can adjust that if we need to. We'll see it being a big deal though. Each of the ads marked just like heroic. None of this is new. We've outlined it this way just to make sure everything is down pat so everyone knows in advance where to go, when to go there, and what the priority is. Just that way we don't have any pulls that are wasting time trying to figure, oh well, did you say this, did you say this? Because I know there's a lot of videos out there, there's a lot of guides out there, there's a lot of resources where everyone could have a really good understanding of the fight, but it's the way that raid did it. So for us, we're going to use this layout for as much of the night as possible. If it gets to a point where clearly it's not working out and we want to change it up, for sure we can do that, but get a good idea in each phase. Take a look at where you might be, or even refer back to this doc that I'm going to share during raid if you're unsure at all. I've added quite a few notes on each of these phases in here too. Just skim and scan through, read through if something that affects you. Awesome, just double check. First ad phase. There's arrows pointing where you're going to go. That's it. Once you know what group you're in, you know where you're headed. That's it. Each time you can plan accordingly, plan ahead, however you want to look at it. We'll do lock gates from purple to orange and from green to orange. That's so that once your first ad dies that each group is closest to, it's an easy transition back over there. I had some notes in here for DPS in each of the ad phases. So if you can have your major cooldowns up for each ad phase, you must. The only thing that will kill us in this fight will be getting behind during the ad phases or having an ad up too long during the main phase, because there's going to be too much damage going out to have an extra ad up. I kind of put an example in there of, like in my case, is balance. Cooldown reduction ring, use it on pull. I have it up for the second, third, and fourth ad phases. If I save it, it's staggered for the rest of the fight. Know those things, double check when and when you can't use your cooldowns, and plan accordingly. Probably going to have Warlocks and Demon Hunters split off and focus the Decimator down. Reason being, Demon Hunter's burst is insane, and also their survivability is pretty crazy. Warlocks don't necessarily have the biggest burst, but they can survive on their own, and their ramp up damage on an ad by itself will be pretty substantial. We might not need 3 DPS. We might need more DPS on purple or green. We'll adjust it as we go. Gonna kill a Decimator last. It's gonna add a new ability. New ability down here in phase 2 is gonna be Reverberating Decimation. Whenever he does Reverberating Strike, the thing that he's always hit the melee with, plus a little pylon down, he's now gonna put a Decimation on 4 people. Those 4 people spread out. Run 10 yards away, don't chuck your Decimation on anybody. That's straightforward. We'll try to call. I'm going to see how much sense it makes to call each Reverberating Strike from phase 2 on. As soon as you hear Reverberating Strike, you know Decimation is going to come out. So you can kind of pre-spread a little bit on your side. Range can move out to the sides, melee move back, however you want to look at it. We'll see We'll see what works best. Construction phase 2, same. Rinse, repeat. Killing the Decimator again. This is going to put 25% damage up on the boss for the rest of the fight. It's going to be about 50% of the fight. He should be at about 52% coming out of this phase if our damage is on pace for an average kill length, we'll say. Phase 3, going to change it up a little bit. Phase 3, we're going to have all the same abilities, but the damage is higher. Now, since the damage is higher at this point, the changes are having your damage reductions up, move out of the group, drop your shit with them. Third transition, third construction phase, what do you want to look at? Changing the kill priority. The kill priority is going to change, so there's no reason to get a 50% buff on the boss if we don't have to. Now, I've seen kills where they've done 3 decimators in a row, fourth ad phase, just kill a couple ads and the boss is dead. But we're going to go Demolisher. We're going to activate a Demolisher, try to keep the raid damage a little bit lower, and just avoid bombs. We'll see if maybe the group is really, really good healing and using cooldowns to not die to all the boss's abilities, 50% increase. Or maybe we're good at dodging balls and maybe the damage check is a little painful. We'll see, just to see how it pans out. But as it stands, we're going to go in to killing the Demolisher on the third ad phase. Once the Demolisher dies third, we're going to lessen this phase as well. Once he dies, we're going to come back out to the boss. Now, Reverberating Decimation is still there. You still have to move out 10 yards whenever strike goes off. New ability, bombs swirling around the room. If someone gets hit by a bomb, it debuffs the entire raid where everyone takes 100% shadow increase damage. So if another bomb gets broken, we wipe. If someone gets Reverberating Decimation and someone breaks a bomb when they shouldn't, it's a wipe. Basically, there's a lot of things that'll combo and kill us in this phase. But shouldn't be a big deal. Because unlike a Heroic, the only people who are going to break the bombs are going to be the tanks. If a tank is not tanking the boss, steps back, breaks a bomb. Prioritize the ones in melee range, etc., and we'll kind of stagger that out. Once this happens, the Demolish debuff that we get is 7 seconds long. So all the tanks have to do is hold off for 7 seconds. Is that feasible? Maybe. The tricky part is going to be the bombs are moving around the outside of the room. They've got to run to them. Maybe a bomb isn't nearby, so as the debuff falls off, just have to get it. So what that can lead to is the bombs actually ramping up a little bit, where we have extra ones. As long as they can prioritize the ones that did spawn first, then they won't speed up as much, easier to avoid, just dodge bombs. A lot of playing Frogger, especially when you move out with Reverberating Decimation. Just play Frogger. Phase 4 is kind of what I just went over. This is the same positioning, same strat I just mentioned, and kill the boss. We have to have the boss at this point either sub 12% is fine, sub 8% is good, sub 4% is ideal, where we're just going to tunnel one ad down and go from there. If we get this fourth construction phase, we're going to either split damage on purple and green, some same people on Decimator, and just kill through there. If we're sub 8%, Demolisher and Annihilator, Demon Hunters and Warlocks, or whoever we decide to put over there, split to those ads. If we're sub 4%, everyone's going Demolisher. Everyone's going Decimator. I need to edit that. Everyone will go Decimator. Just meet up in the middle, take the lock gates, get there, and go ham. That's the one that's closest to both teams. Should work out all right. We'll have to play that by ear. If there's anything weird that I've missed or anything that someone had a question about or something, notate it. Make sure you ask me before we pull tonight. Or if you have a comment or a suggestion, DM me in Discord, Battle.net, whatever you gotta do. Thanks, guys.